Hello, probers.
Howdy, howdy.
Welcome to But It Was Aliens, the extraterrestrial comedy podcast brought to you by two former MIBs. I'm your host this week, Moonwalker, and joining me is none other than the bearded one, Kevin the Grey. Beard.
That be me.
This week, we're going down under.
We going down.
And back to school, so button up your shirts and sit up straight.
I'm not wearing a shirt.
Button your lip then.
Don't have lips. Kevin the Lipless.
It's April 6th, 1966.
Well, it's not, is it?
Well, it is. Today. For this probe. It is.
It was.
It was April 6th, 1966. And in Melbourne, Victoria, there was about to be a life-changing event.
Ooh.
A teacher was with their class, possibly teaching something boring like RE, when they are interrupted by a student bursting into the class, announcing that there was a UFO outside.
Ooh, we're back in school, like
We are back in school.
Zimbabwe and Pembrokeshire.
Correct.
Pembrokeshire, where we had Ms. Granville,
Correct.
who bravely shat her pants.
You're still not wrong.
Interesting. So one kid came bursting in.
Yep.
So we've got one witness, essentially.
One kid was just like, boom, kick the door in. There's a fucking UFO outside.
Now, I've worked in schools.
Did a kid burst into the school and go, there's a fucking UFO outside?
No, but I have heard some kids say some strange things. Now I wonder, if you were in a school every day, how often does a kid come in and say they've seen an alien? I bet it's a lot more common than what people perhaps think about.
Has it ever happened to you?
No.
In the years that you've been at school and the years that you've worked in a school?
When I was at school, I told my friends that I had a pet boglin. Does that count as an alien?
Did you think it was a pet?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I said it so convincingly that I convinced myself.
Is it just like when I convinced Jay that Nissan Micra would beat a BMW in a race?
That's a fact. But yeah, kids say strange things and people rarely believe them. Like they'll see fairies and ghosts and all sorts. They'll have imaginary friends.
Yeah, but they do have imaginary friends.
Drop dead Fred.
Exactly.
Let's see how this one pans out.
What they spotted was described as a flying saucer, twice the size of a family car. Now, this isn't the first time we've been to school where the students and teachers have claimed to see a flying disc. The two upper probes were mentioned by Greybeard a little while ago.
Indeed, they stick in my memory quite well. We've covered lots of cases by this point, about, 85 to 90?
Mm-hmm.
Yet those ones I always remember quite well, along with the really, really bizarre ones like people shagging aliens.
The one that sticks into my head the most is possibly Cohen.
Yeah, like people shagging aliens, there you go. Cohen, Huggins, and school children.
Probably just Cohen. Maybe Travis, another one. More for your reaction than the story itself. And obviously frogs.
F that frog, dickhead. If I ever see that Loveland frog man, pow!
I was about to say, what are you going to do?
Run away! That noise was me closing the door. Pow!
Leg it.
I will not be troubling you, Froggy. Leave me alone.
It will hold aloft its magic wand and ribbit.
Gandalf frog. I will not drink your hell juice. Goodbye.
The saucer was spotted descending over the school and then disappeared behind some trees for approximately 20 minutes.
That, again, is sounding quite like the other ones. Interesting.
And below I have a artist's rendition of the school children.
Right. Okay. So the first thing that's caught my eye here is unfortunate. And the reason it's caught my eye is because it's almost in the centre of the shot. There is a male child grabbing the thigh of a female child.
I don't think he's grabbing the thigh.
Oh, he's grabbing the thigh.
He's just walking with.
Can you see a shadow behind his hand on the child's dress? No, you can't, because it's grabbing it. They're touching. Further in the background, there is what looks like possibly one of the teachers trying to catch a seagull. He's got his arms out like he's trying to woo it in. And outside of that, we have a telephone tower, lots of birds,
Pylon.
Lots of children's all running towards the far corner of the image, where above is a typical flying saucer.
A giant lampshade, if you will.
Yes, indeed. Who drew this fine art?
I do not know.
It was me. I am an artist.
You did not draw that.
I did not draw that. I can't keep up the pretend.
So we know that the saucer allegedly truthfully landed behind some trees. Using your skills as an MIB agent, what do you think was the reason it landed?
To sample the dirt, to refuel, or to probe. And I really hope it's not going for the latter, because these are children and they should not be probed.
If it was going to refuel, what would its fuel source be?
Biofuel, baby!
So essentially, 1 and 2 in 1.
Yes. 1 and 2 are the same point.
After 20 minutes, the saucer ascended from the spot at speed and took off. Not only did it take off...
I'm sorry. You can finish.
But it was chased by 5 unidentified crafts. One of the students hopped a fence and went to where the craft had landed, but there was nothing there but an imprint.
Okay.
Before we get to the picture, if you would like to...
Yeah, the reason I started laughing is because you said that they shot off at speed. Technically, everything is at a speed. I could get up and walk very slowly to my fridge right now, and you could say that I got up at speed. Unconfirmed speed. Mystery speed. But speed nonetheless. I don't know why I'm doing this silly tone of voice at the moment, but I'm going to continue.
But wouldn't you... I know what you're getting at, but at the same time, if it was slow, wouldn't you describe it as being slow?
But that's what I'm saying. You could just say at speed and it's completely misleading.
Okay. It took off fast. Very fast.
Did it now? Right.
Not at a slow speed.
Did you see it?
Maybe.
Were you driving it? Okay, so you've got a photo here by the looks of it. Yes, indeed. That looks a little bit like a crop circle.
Kind of circle-esque, yes.
Oh, and it's in crop by the looks of it.
I'd call that grass.
I'd call that a crop circle.
I'd call that grass circle.
A circle in the undergrowth. In your grass?
Amongst the trees.
So we have a circular imprint that I'm guessing is being suggested as to the landing zone, if it indeed landed, or if not, if it hovered above, then its fuel source likely left that as it took off. Either way, crop circle.
Or propulsion.
And not one of those bullshit art attack ones. We're talking proper all flat circle, not elaborate patterns.
I mean, if it's not necessarily its fuel source, but if it was the air pressure.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Pushed down, flattened everything.
I'll accept that on your probe.
Joy Tiggeth?
Ty?
Joy is one of the students who was there that day and saw it. She says she just wants people to believe her, and she wants answers. She wants to know exactly what she saw that day. And there is also a picture of Joy there.
Joy sounds very reasonable. I hope we have other witnesses who corroborate and say the same sort of things.
Would you like a lot of joy in your life?
I'm just going to check the picture. Oh, this is obviously a more modern picture. She's not a school child anymore. She's probably in her would 60s be fair? Has lived a full and rewarding life, one would hope.
Yeah, late 50s, early 60s.
She looks mid-flow.
As if she's about to say something.
Or she's partway through a sentence.
Yep.
Is she by any chance saying that I want the answers.
She could possibly well be saying that.
She looks like she wants the answers, to be fair. She looks kind of confused with the world. Very lengthy ear now that I look at it. It's quite a long ear, isn't it? It's like BFG style.
I'm quite disturbed by the dark void behind her.
Oh, I assumed that was just outside at night.
No, I think it's a like a wooden cabinet with glasses. Like,
oh, is it?
glass
Okay,
inside.
I assumed they were windows.
But if you look at the one in the middle,
okay.
it just looks so dark.
It does indeed.
Her hand is about to come out and just...
They're coming
Take her.
back for her to show her some joy. There goes that voice again.
The 5 crafts that followed the UFO are reportedly government crafts. The government have said that they had no presence there that day, but some believe that this is a cover-up.
Definitely cover up.
Some of the students who were there that day and are now adults claim that army officials spoke to them and warned them not to speak about it further. Not only were the children, and I'd assume their parents, told not to talk about it, but the teachers were told to keep quiet too. This, to me, doesn't sound like the government weren't there.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a tough one, isn't it? Because we're going to need some evidence to back up these claims. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to conclude. 5 crafts, that's quite excessive, isn't it? You'd think that... Oh, or is that a typical squadron?
Typical squadron. But I mean,
Yeah, it's arguable,
we are
isn't
going to
it?
need some evidence to back up the fact that the government wasn't there. Like, where were they? Do they have an alibi?
Where's your alibi, government?
What were you doing?
Yeah, we know this happened, but tell us where you were. So some of the students claim this. Do any of the other students claim to the contrary?
Not that I'm aware of.
Intriguing. No one's coming out and saying, nah, it didn't happen. Joy's full of shit. Interesting. No parents as well. Oh, to be fair, they wouldn't have seen it anyway. They'd only be going on the kid's word, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
How much do you trust your kid? If your kid says it's seen an alien, are you backing that kid up?
Now, there has been several probes before where I have referred to kids as lying little toe rags
Yes.
and
Indigo children in particular.
untrustworthy little souls.
Yes.
However,
My
child would not be such a little toe rag. So if my child came up to me and said, Daddy, I saw an alien, I'd say, point me in that motherfucker's direction.
if you let me babysit even once for minutes whilst you just snip to the corner shop, that kid's being a toe rag. That kid is going to see so much shit over the next few months.
Every time it says something, did Uncle Kev put you up to this?
Nope.
But then after that point, I'm just going to think it's you anyway.
But you'll know the child has been tarnished with the rag of toe.
So after that point, no, I wouldn't believe my child. So news of the UFO got out. Actually, would you believe your child?
Hell no. I've known children. Children lie. It's a natural part of development.
But what if they weren't lying?
Then shit. They're growing up in the school of hard knocks. It depends on what they say, to be fair. If they tell me they're seeing creatures from other worlds, I'm probably not going to believe that.
What if they say bald man with weird long fingers keeps coming into their room at night and taking them away?
Then they can sleep in the parents' room and we'll see if it comes. Until they're 3 years old, then they're by themselves. I'll give them boxing gloves.
So news of the UFO got out quickly, and news camera crews were there sharp. Were they called by the school? Tipped off by someone passing by?
Joy.
No matter how...
She was straight on the blower.
She was.
All right.
Ran to
Seen an alien?
ran to the box, 50p in,
Yeah.
called the news.
Hey, I've seen an alien in Australia, like.
With her Scouse accent. That's how they knew.
G'day. My name's Joy. Seen a bloody alien, didn't I?
No. Bastard. No matter how they got there, and they spoke with people there, got their accounts of what happened, and allegedly truthfully, none of this appeared on TV, as they were silenced by the army.
That is interesting. So reporters reported upon it, but it wasn't on the television.
Some of the kids that were there that day said how they spoke to the press and the news camera crews, and none of that was seen on TV.
So did they come home telling their families they were famous?
Quite possibly.
Look, Mum.
Let's watch it on the news. I'm going to be on the news.
I've been interviewed.
Yo, Mum. This is Joy talking.
Hey, Mama.
Hey, Mama.
I'm going to be on the news.
I've been a good girl.
A theory that is floating around is that what they saw was a weather balloon.
Oh, that old chestnut.
Now, we've heard this several times now. If you've listened to our podcast for a while, you'd be forgiven for thinking that I've taken a few episodes and just smashed them together to create this one. I assure you, weather balloon theory is real. And there is proof that a weather balloon was launched nearby a few days before the sighting. It explains a lot of what was seen by the children of the school.
Nah, that don't explain a crop circle.
However, what it doesn't explain is how the object rose with with speed and took off. I can't see that happening with a weather balloon. Can you, grey bollocks?
Nah, definite government cover up.
They cobbled it up.
Cover up. Definite. Every time the government are involved, it's a bloody weather balloon, isn't it?
Yep.
They can never think of anything else. Non-creative bastards.
Or UFO, weather balloon.
Definite weather balloon. Hey, I've seen a UFO.
No, the government told me that was a weather balloon. My name is Joy. Hey, sugar! What you say, Joy? You been naughty, girl? No, I said I saw a UFO that was a weather balloon. Okay, honey.
I was wondering if you going to go any further?
What the bloody hell did you say you saw there?
Hey, Lachlan.
Top of the morning to you. Do you know what I mean? To be sure. To be sure, to be sure. I thought I saw a weather balloon.
Apparently, there were photos taken, but none of them saw the light of day.
Oh, yes. Cover up, eh?
They were allegedly truthfully confiscated, but one picture managed to make its way out there.
Ooh.
And this is because it was taken from someone outside of the school. They went around the fuss because they saw the craft 2 days before and snapped a picture of it.
Oh, shit.
The photographer did come forward and confirm that the craft moved the same way that the children and teachers described. And here is that picture.
Ah, double shit. This is why I said, oh shit. Because you said the weather balloon was launched a few days before. So I was thinking, bollocks, it might not be a UFO. And now you're showing me this picture and...
It's a UFO.
So in weather balloon photos, I'm not sure how familiar you are with weather balloons, but they often have several parts to them, a really long bit of string and different instruments all the way down them. Mm-hmm. And you can see...
None of that there.
If you look kind of in line with the weather balloon, you can see a couple of bits high above it, or not too high above it, and a couple of bits really far below it.
What I can see here is a flying saucer.
How would you describe the shape you're looking at there? Because that ain't a saucer.
A saucer taken with a really bad camera on its side.
Okay. Yes, aliens.
Precisely.
Hey.
So, Greybeard said it. That is a flying saucer. I say flying saucer because it is no longer unidentified. The photo was examined by the Victorian Flying Saucer Research Society, who have come out and said that they don't believe that this picture has been edited or doctored in any way, shape or form.
Ooh.
I mentioned earlier that Joy was someone that was there and just wanted answers. And here's a quote I found from her. It wasn't in your imagination. You weren't on drugs. You weren't drunk. It happened.
Oh, Joy. You can't argue with a voice like that, can you?
You can't. It says it straight as it is. Down the line, down the middle. No bullshit.
Absolutely. She looked honourable and trustworthy as well, so... So the photo was examined by the Victorian Flying Saucer Research Society.
That it was.
Why are they called the Victorian? Were they set up by someone called Victoria, or have they been going since the Victorian times? Do we have that information to
There's a
hand?
Victoria in America, isn't there? So I just think that's where they're based.
Is there not one in Australia, actually, thinking about it?
Sorry, Australia, not America. There's a Victoria in Australia.
Well, I'd like to think that this group has been going since the Victorian times. In fact, I'd like to think that they're in the Victorian times.
The Victorian Flying Saucer Research Society has today found... Although that's still far
I'm pretty sure that was like the 50s, wasn't it?
Hey, this is Joy. I heard that the UFO has time travel properties.
I saw it. He saw it. We weren't on drugs. We weren't drunk. Should hope not. They were in school.
That's a very good point. That didn't even occur to me. Why would a school child need to clarify that they weren't drunk?
Or on drugs.
What sort of school was this? And where do you sign up?
Was it a school for the hard knocks?
That's where your children are going.
The troubled youth. The miscreants. The ones that are likely to get in trouble. To break the law. And the law!
Break the law down.
So they got Joy. It's out there mugging everyone with a knife. So now this is the part of the probe I like to call Greybeard's miserable bastard section.
Ooh, you bloody wanker.
Previously, science and skepticism.
I feel like it grows every week.
There was a runaway balloon from a high-altitude balloon project. This was used to test radiation levels following British nuclear tests at Maralinga. It's been reported that the balloon was likely blown off track.
Okay.
Another skeptic believes the weather balloon theory is a likely one for the first half of this case, and they believe the second part is explained by a nylon target drogue which is towed by one plane and chased by others. This is allegedly truthfully used by the local RAAF,
The RAF.
and this would also explain why the craft was followed by 5 other crafts. So to summarise, we have a flying saucer seen by the children and teachers of Westall School. It descended behind some trees before taking off 20 minutes later. News crews took statements, and apparently the government came in, hushed everyone up, and then moved on. Some believe that it was actually just a weather balloon, and that the ascended half of the story was a drogue which is chased by other aircraft. A Greybeard. Do you believe Joy and the kids saw a UFO, or are these little fuckers telling porcupines?
That's all, folks. I'm saying these little porksters are telling porkies. There's not enough detail in this one, is there? There's no real
Meat on the bone.
no quality witnesses to hold on to. We've got Joy, and that's basically it. There's no detail, no facts, and the skepticism is quite convincing. As soon as you said there was a weather balloon launched nearby a few days earlier, that kind of made my mind up. Enjoyed the ride, but children, as we discussed, do like to tell porkies, and not even like for mischievous means. It's just part of growing up, isn't it? So without some more credible witnesses or facts, data, I can't stick to
Say
your
that
reputation
it's not
on the
aliens.
line.
So Greybeard says it's aliens. I, on the other hand, am going to go against Greybeard and say
You're
that this
saying that
is
it's
not aliens.
But
But I believe that the children of the school think they saw a UFO. Because if someone tells you that you saw a UFO as a child, you're going to believe that what you saw was a UFO.
Very good
You're
point.
not going to question it.
yeah, you could see a plane going through the sky. Someone says that's not a plane, that's something else, that's a UFO.
Then,
You're like, oh shit.
yeah,
You
you're going
want
to
to get in on it and you believe it.
So that goes around the school. Everyone thinks they've seen a UFO. News crews turn up and everyone's like, yeah, we saw a UFO, we saw a UFO. I don't think the government turned up. I think that's been tagged on to try and make the story more credible, either at the time or further down the line. Mm-hmm. Because these people believe they saw one.
Yeah.
So if a lot of people are telling them, no, you didn't, they're going to think it could be a possible cover-up.
Yeah, I agree.
But I personally think this is just a lot of kids have been told that they saw a UFO and it actually wasn't one.
To be fair, like every school has that kind of popular influencer kid who says something and the rest all copy it and imitate it and whatnot. Mm-hmm. That one kid that came running in
could have been that kid.
And that was it. Everyone believed it from that point. They all wanted part of it.
Or that kid was outside, pointed up, told everyone that was a UFO, because everyone's like, what's that? What's that? And then they want to be the one kid that knows what it is. Like, oh, I know what that is. It's a UFO.
So they, in fact, don't know what it is, but they don't realise that.
And then it gets round, everyone comes in. The part about the one school child that climbed a fence and went over and saw the flat grass, don't believe that happened at all. That
Little porkster.
That's pretty irresponsible from the teachers if a child is able to just climb a fence and wander off. Especially if it's in a state of hysterics as it is right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's the children's safety is your number one priority. Can you imagine if that was a UFO and the parents turn up and they're like, well, where's my kid? I don't know. They climbed the fence over there and legged it, so maybe the UFO got them. I'd murder those teachers if that happened to my kid. Now, Joy.
Yes.
I believe it wasn't in your imagination, Joy. I also believe you weren't on drugs and you weren't drunk. You were a child and you got told if it was a UFO. So for all your life, you have believed it was a UFO. I don't believe you actually saw one. But I clearly believe that you think you saw one.
The similarity between yours and Joy's voices is uncanny.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Joy, if you would like to take us out.
Are you coming
Thank
to
you
Joy?
for joining us for this week's episode.
Did you just ask Joy out?
I meant to finish the episode.
If you'd like to take us out, Joy. I will be your floozy.
I like my steak rare. That didn't even cross my mind that way.
You really like the look of Joy, didn't you?
It's the sound of her voice. The cut of her jib.
Hey, baby.
If you'd like to take us out.
So thank you for joining us for this week's episode. If you're new to our podcast, you can find us on Facebook at But It Was Aliens. Our Facebook group is Extraterrestrial Towers. You can find us on Instagram at But It Was Aliens Podcast. And you can find us on Twitter at But It Was Aliens. We are also on Patreon at But It Was Aliens, where we cover things outside of the extraterrestrial, which we like to call side probes.
Ghoulies, ghosties, things with the mosties.
I have been Moonwalker. He has been Greybeard. And this is But It Was Aliens. Remember, the truth is up there. #probe. Hey, Joy. I like my steak rare. Baby!
You want to devour some meat with me, Joy?